Snow falls in complete silence when the air is perfectly still. There's something almost magical about stepping outside during a gentle snowfall and hearing nothing at all. When conditions are just right, with no wind to disturb the air, snowflakes drift down in absolute quiet. Each crystal floats through space like a tiny ghost, making no sound as it touches the ground or settles on tree branches. This silence happens because snow acts as a natural sound absorber. The fluffy crystals trap air between their delicate structures, creating millions of tiny pockets that muffle noise. Fresh snow can reduce sound levels by up to 60%, wrapping the world in a soft acoustic blanket. It's why winter nights feel so peaceful, so hushed and contemplative. The earth itself seems to be whispering. Every snowflake that has ever fallen was completely unique. In all of human history, across every winter storm and gentle dusting, no two snowflakes have ever been exactly identical. Each one begins its life as a tiny ice crystal in the clouds, growing as water vapor freezes around microscopic particles of dust or pollen. As the crystal tumbles through the atmosphere, it encounters countless variations in temperature, humidity, and air pressure. These subtle differences guide how each branch and point develops, creating an infinite variety of six-sided masterpieces. Some are simple and geometric, others elaborate like frozen lace. The number of possible snowflake designs is so vast that mathematicians estimate it exceeds the number of atoms in the observable universe. Every flake that lands on your coat sleeve or melts on your tongue carried its own unique story through the clouds. Winter air is actually cleaner than summer air in many places. Cold temperatures create conditions that naturally purify the atmosphere. Many pollutants that hang in warm air become heavier in the cold and settle to the ground. Snow acts like nature's air filter, capturing dust, pollen, and other particles as it falls. The frigid temperatures also slow down chemical reactions that create smog and other pollutants. This is why winter days often feel so crisp and clear, why that first breath of cold air can feel so refreshing and clean. In snowy regions, the air quality often improves dramatically during winter months. Each snowfall is like a gentle washing of the sky, leaving behind air that feels pure and invigorating. Trees don't actually sleep in winter, but they enter a state called dormancy. Just like some animals hibernate, trees have their own version of winter rest. As temperatures drop and daylight hours shrink, trees slowly shut down their active growth processes. They stop producing new leaves, slow their metabolism, and enter a peaceful state of suspended animation. The sap that flows through their branches becomes more concentrated, acting like natural antifreeze to prevent damage from freezing temperatures. During this quiet time, trees are conserving energy, protecting themselves, and preparing for the burst of growth that will come with spring. Even in the depths of winter, life continues within them, just very slowly and peacefully. They're not dead or suffering, just patiently waiting. Some animals grow thicker, softer fur specifically for winter cuddles. Many creatures develop what scientists call winter coats, growing dense undercoats of incredibly soft fur beneath their regular hair. Arctic foxes grow fur so thick and insulating that they can sleep comfortably on snow even when temperatures drop to -40 degrees. Their winter coats are nearly twice as thick as their summer fur, creating layers of trapped warm air. Rabbits, deer, and even domestic cats grow similar winter undercoats that feel remarkably soft and plush. This extra fur isn't just functional, it's also incredibly comforting. The texture is often much softer than their regular coat, designed by nature to provide maximum warmth and comfort during the coldest months. Snow can actually keep you warmer by acting as insulation. Fresh snow is mostly air, with ice crystals creating countless tiny pockets that trap warm air. This makes snow an excellent insulator, which is why igloos work so well and why small animals tunnel beneath the snow for warmth. A layer of snow on the ground acts like a blanket, keeping the soil underneath from freezing as deeply. Even a few inches of snow can keep ground temperatures significantly warmer than the air above. This natural insulation is why some plants can survive harsh winters, protected by their snowy covering. Many winter survival experts know that snow can be a lifesaver, providing shelter and insulation in emergency situations. The aurora borealis appears most frequently during the coldest months. Those stunning displays of green, purple, and blue light dancing across northern skies are actually more common in winter. This happens because winter nights are longer and darker, making the lights more visible. The aurora is created when particles from the sun interact with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere, but we can only see this celestial dance when the sky is dark enough. Winter also tends to have clearer skies in many northern regions, with less atmospheric moisture to obscure the view. The lights themselves are completely silent, flowing and shifting like curtains of color across the star-filled darkness. Watching the aurora has a naturally meditative quality, as the slow, graceful movements seem to pulse with the rhythm of the Earth itself. Ice crystals form in patterns that follow mathematical principles found throughout nature. When water freezes slowly and peacefully, it creates crystals that follow the same geometric rules seen in flowers, seashells, and galaxies. These patterns, called fractals, repeat at different scales, creating intricate designs that seem almost too perfect to be natural. Frost on windows forms in delicate fern-like patterns, each branch splitting into smaller branches in precise mathematical relationships. The same principles that guide the spiral of a nautilus shell or the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower also determine how ice crystals grow. There's something deeply satisfying about these patterns, as if nature is revealing its hidden order through the simple act of water freezing. Winter sunlight has a different quality that many people find soothing. The sun sits lower in the sky during winter months, creating longer shadows and softer light throughout the day. This gentle illumination has a warm, golden quality even on the coldest days. Snow reflects this soft sunlight, creating a subtle glow that seems to come from everywhere at once. The light has to travel through more atmosphere to reach us when the sun is low, which filters out harsh rays and creates that peaceful, diffused brightness. Many people find winter light particularly beautiful for this reason, as it creates a dreamy, almost ethereal quality to familiar landscapes. Hot chocolate tastes better in winter because of how our taste buds respond to temperature. Our sense of taste and smell work differently in cold weather. Cool air makes our taste buds less sensitive to sweetness, which means warm, sweet drinks like hot chocolate create a more intense and satisfying experience. The contrast between the cold air and the warm liquid also enhances our perception of comfort and pleasure. Additionally, our bodies crave more calories and warming foods when it's cold, making rich warm beverages feel more satisfying and necessary. The ritual of warming your hands around a mug and feeling the steam rise adds to the sensory pleasure. creating a complete experience of comfort and warmth. Many birds don't actually fly south for winter. They just become quieter and more peaceful. While some species do migrate, many birds that we associate with warmer months actually stay in their territories year-round. They simply become less active and more secretive. Cardinals, blue jays, and woodpeckers often remain in northern climates, but they conserve energy by moving less and calling less frequently. They grow extra feathers for insulation and change their behavior to require less energy. Their songs become softer and less frequent, creating a more peaceful soundscape. These year-round residents often visit bird feeders more regularly in winter, creating gentle opportunities for quiet observation and connection with wildlife. Fresh snow can muffle sounds so effectively that it creates natural meditation spaces. The acoustic properties of new snowfall are remarkable for creating peaceful environments. Snow absorbs high-frequency sounds while allowing lower frequencies to travel, which means harsh noises become muted while gentle sounds like wind through trees or distant voices carry clearly. This natural sound filtering creates an environment that many people find deeply calming and meditative. The effect is strongest with fresh, fluffy snow that contains the most air pockets. Walking through a snow-covered forest or park can feel like entering a natural cathedral where even your own footsteps are softened and the world seems wrapped in quiet contemplation. Winter nights are longer, giving us more natural opportunities for rest. As daylight hours shrink during winter months, our bodies naturally adjust to longer periods of darkness. This extended nighttime aligns with our circadian rhythms in a way that can promote deeper, more restorative sleep. The darkness triggers increased production of melatonin, the hormone that helps us feel sleepy and relaxed. Many people find that they naturally want to go to bed earlier and sleep longer during winter months, which is actually a healthy response to the seasonal changes. The long, dark nights create perfect conditions for the kind of deep, peaceful sleep that helps our bodies and minds recover and restore themselves. Snow-covered landscapes naturally reduce visual stimulation in a calming way. The white blanket of snow creates a simplified, minimalist version of familiar environments. Complex textures, colors, and details become softened and unified under the snow, reducing the amount of visual information our brains need to process. This natural simplification can be very restful for our minds, similar to how meditation practices often focus on reducing distractions. The gentle curves and soft edges that snow creates also have a soothing psychological effect, as our brains tend to find smooth, flowing lines more relaxing than sharp angles and busy patterns. A snow-covered garden or park becomes a peaceful, contemplative space that invites quiet reflection. The scent of snow is actually the smell of ozone and clean air. Many people notice that the air smells different just before and during snowfall, describing it as fresh, clean, or metallic. This distinctive winter scent comes from several sources. Cold air holds less moisture and fewer particles, making it smell cleaner. The electrical activity in snow clouds can create small amounts of ozone, which has a crisp, distinctive smell. Additionally, snow itself has virtually no scent, which means that when it covers the ground, it eliminates many of the usual outdoor odors, leaving only the clean smell of cold, pure air. This natural air freshening effect contributes to the refreshing feeling of a snowy day. Winter weather encourages the production of negative ions, which can improve mood and relaxation. Negative ions are molecules in the air that carry an extra electron, and they're produced naturally by moving water, including falling snow and ice crystals in the air. These ions have been shown to increase serotonin levels in the brain, which can improve mood and promote feelings of well-being and relaxation. This is one reason why many people report feeling energized and refreshed during and after snowstorms, despite the cold temperatures. The effect is similar to what people experience near waterfalls, ocean waves, or after thunderstorms. Winter weather naturally creates an environment rich in these beneficial ions, contributing to the peaceful, restorative feeling that many associate with snowy days. Animals in winter move with the slower, more deliberate grace that's naturally calming to observe. Cold temperatures cause most creatures to conserve energy by moving more slowly and purposefully. Squirrels pause longer between movements, birds take their time at feeders, and even domestic pets tend to stretch out their actions during winter months. This unhurried pace creates a meditative quality in the natural world. Watching a deer pick its way carefully through snow, or a cat stretching lazily in a patch of winter sunlight can be deeply soothing. The frantic energy of summer gives way to a more thoughtful, measured rhythm that invites us to slow down as well. Winter storms create a unique type of white noise that promotes deep relaxation. The sound of wind moving through bare tree branches, snow tapping against windows, or the distant rumble of winter weather creates natural sound frequencies that many people find deeply calming. These consistent, low-level sounds mask other noises and create an acoustic environment similar to expensive white noise machines. The irregular but gentle patterns of winter storm sounds can actually help quiet an overactive mind, making it easier to drift off to sleep or enter a meditative state. Many people report sleeping more soundly during gentle winter storms than they do on completely quiet nights. Frost forms most beautifully during the calmest, most peaceful weather conditions. Those intricate patterns of ice crystals that appear on windows and plants develop best when the air is still and humidity levels are just right. The process happens slowly and silently, usually during the quiet hours before dawn when the world is at its most tranquil. Each crystal grows gradually, following the microscopic imperfections in the surface it's forming on. The result is artwork that seems impossibly delicate and detailed, created entirely by the gentle forces of temperature and moisture. Watching frost form in real time is like witnessing nature's own meditation, a slow, peaceful process that creates beauty from the simplest elements. Hibernating animals experience a state similar to the deepest, most restorative human sleep. Bears, groundhogs, and other hibernating creatures enter a condition where their heart rate and breathing slow dramatically. Their body temperature drops and their metabolism nearly stops. During this time, their brains show patterns similar to the deepest stages of human sleep, when our bodies do their most important healing and restoration. Hibernating animals don't dream in the usual sense, but exist in a state of profound rest that allows them to survive months without food while their bodies slowly repair and renew themselves. It's nature's ultimate form of peaceful surrender, a complete letting go that sustains life through the darkest months. Snow has natural antibacterial properties that help purify the environment. Fresh snow is remarkably clean and contains very few bacteria or other microorganisms. As it falls, snow captures particles and pollutants from the air, but the cold temperatures and the snow's chemical composition naturally inhibit bacterial growth. In many cultures, fresh snow has been used for cleaning and even consumed as a source of pure water. The pristine quality of new snowfall creates an environment that feels not just visually clean, but genuinely purified. This natural cleansing effect contributes to the fresh, renewed feeling that comes with the first snowfall of the season. Winter air naturally contains more oxygen in each breath due to its density. Cold air is denser than warm air, which means each breath you take during winter actually contains more oxygen molecules. This can create a subtle feeling of alertness and well-being, even as the peaceful winter environment encourages relaxation. The combination of more oxygen and cleaner air can be invigorating in a gentle way, like a natural form of aromatherapy. Deep breathing exercises are particularly effective in winter air, as each breath delivers maximum benefit, while the calm environment supports mindful breathing practices. The earth beneath snow remains warmer and more active than the frozen surface suggests. While the ground may appear lifeless under a blanket of snow, there's actually a thriving ecosystem in the space between the soil and the snow layer. This area, called the subnivean zone, maintains temperatures much warmer than the air above. Small animals create tunnels and chambers in this space, while plant roots continue their slow winter processes. Decomposition continues at a gentle pace, preparing nutrients for spring growth. This hidden world of quiet activity beneath the snow reminds us that even in winter's apparent stillness, life continues its patient work. Winter constellations appear brighter and clearer than those in other seasons. The cold, dry air of winter holds less moisture and dust than summer air, creating ideal conditions for stargazing. Winter nights are not only longer, but often clearer, allowing us to see stars that are invisible during other times of the year. The contrast between the dark sky and the white snow below can make celestial objects appear even more brilliant. Many of the brightest stars and most prominent constellations are best viewed during winter months. Looking up at a clear winter sky can be a naturally meditative experience, as the vastness and clarity of the stars put earthly concerns into peaceful perspective. Icicles form through a slow, rhythmic process that mirrors natural breathing patterns. The creation of icicles requires a delicate balance of freezing and melting, with water dripping slowly and regularly from edges and overhangs. Each drop freezes before the next one falls, gradually building the icicle layer by layer. The process happens at a pace that's almost hypnotic to watch, with the steady drip and freeze rhythm creating a natural metronome. The resulting icicles often have a smooth, organic shape that seems to flow like frozen water in motion. They represent the beauty that can emerge from simple, repetitive natural processes. Winter foods naturally contain compounds that promote relaxation and comfort. Many traditional winter foods like root vegetables, warm spices, and slow-cooked meals contain nutrients that support calm mood and restful sleep. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and other warming spices contain compounds that can have mild sedative effects. Root vegetables are rich in complex carbohydrates that promote steady energy and stable mood. The longer cooking times required for winter foods also create chemical changes that make nutrients more bioavailable and flavors more complex. The tradition of hearty winter cooking isn't just about staying warm. It's about nourishing both body and mind through the challenging season. Snow-laden tree branches create natural sculptures that change constantly throughout winter. The weight of snow bends branches into graceful curves, transforming familiar trees into entirely new shapes. Each snowfall adds to these natural sculptures, while wind and temperature changes cause the snow to shift and resettle. The result is an ever-changing gallery of natural art that never looks exactly the same twice. The soft flowing lines created by snow-covered branches have an inherently calming effect on the observer, similar to how flowing water or gentle curves in architecture can promote feelings of peace and well-being. Winter silence has measurable effects on stress levels and mental clarity. Studies have shown that the reduced noise levels common during snowy weather can lower cortisol levels and blood pressure. The natural quiet of a snow-covered environment allows our nervous systems to downshift from the constant alertness required in noisier settings. This acoustic rest gives our brains a chance to process information more clearly and enter states associated with creativity and problem solving. The psychological benefits of winter silence are so pronounced that some meditation retreats specifically seek out snowy locations to enhance the depth of the peaceful experience. Ice formations create natural prisms that scatter light into rainbow colors. When sunlight passes through ice crystals in the air or solid ice formations, it breaks apart into component colors, just like light passing through a glass prism. This phenomenon creates subtle rainbows in unexpected places during winter, from the ice crystals suspended in cold air to the thick ice formations on frozen waterfalls. These fleeting displays of color against the monochrome winter landscape can be surprisingly uplifting and beautiful. The physics behind these winter rainbows is the same that creates the aurora borealis, connecting small, intimate moments of beauty with the grandest displays in nature. Winter creates natural rhythms that align with our deepest biological need for rest. As temperatures drop and daylight fades earlier each day, our bodies naturally increase melatonin production, the hormone that signals it's time for sleep. This biological response evolved over thousands of years to help humans conserve energy during the season when food was scarce and survival required careful resource management. The longer nights and shorter days create a natural framework for extended rest periods, encouraging the kind of deep, restorative sleep that modern life often disrupts. Many people find they sleep more soundly in winter, waking feeling more refreshed despite spending more hours in bed. This isn't laziness, it's biology working as intended. Frozen lakes create their own peaceful underwater world. When a lake freezes over, it doesn't become a solid block of ice all the way down. Instead, the ice forms a protective layer on top, while the water below remains liquid, creating a hidden aquatic sanctuary. Fish and other lake creatures continue their quiet lives beneath the ice, moving slowly in the cold but stable water. The ice layer above acts like a window, allowing filtered sunlight to penetrate and create an ethereal underwater glow. This process happens gradually and gently, with the lake slowly transitioning from open water to its winter state. The fish don't suffer or struggle, they simply adjust their metabolism and wait patiently for spring's return. Snow crystals contain tiny air bubbles that make them sparkle like diamonds. Each snowflake is essentially a miniature collection of ice and trapped air, creating countless surfaces that reflect and refract light. When sunlight hits fresh snow, these microscopic structures scatter the light in all directions, creating that magical, sparkling effect that makes snow-covered landscapes seem to glow. The sparkle is most visible on clear, sunny days when the light is bright and the snow is fresh. This natural glitter effect has inspired countless winter celebrations and traditions, reminding us that nature creates its own jewelry from nothing more than frozen water and captured air. Winter winds carry the scent of distant places and clean horizons. Cold air moves differently than warm air, traveling farther and carrying fewer particles along the way. Winter winds often bring hints of pine forests, clean snow, and crisp mountain air, even to areas far from these sources. The reduced humidity in winter air means that scents travel more purely without being masked by moisture or competing odors. These clean, distant scents can trigger peaceful memories and associations, connecting us to vast landscapes and open spaces even when we're indoors. The psychological effect of breathing air that smells of far-off mountains or pristine forests can be surprisingly calming and centering. Ice skating and winter sports create a unique form of moving meditation. The rhythmic motion of skating, skiing, or snowshoeing naturally synchronizes with breathing patterns, creating a meditative state similar to walking meditation. The smooth, gliding motions required for winter activities engage the body's balance systems in ways that quiet mental chatter and promote present moment awareness. The cold air requires deeper, more mindful breathing, while the winter landscape provides a simplified, distraction-free environment for movement. Many winter athletes report entering flow states more easily than during summer activities, as the combination of rhythmic movement and peaceful surroundings naturally quiets the busy mind. Bare winter trees reveal architectural beauty that's hidden during leafy seasons. Without their canopy of leaves, trees expose their essential structure, showing the elegant branching patterns and graceful lines that define their character. Each species has its own distinctive silhouette, from the spreading arms of oaks to the upright columns of poplars. These bare branches create intricate patterns against winter skies, forming natural artwork that changes with each viewing angle and lighting condition. The simplicity of leafless trees has a calming effect on the observer, reducing visual complexity while revealing the mathematical beauty of natural growth patterns. Artists have long recognized winter trees as subjects for meditation and contemplation. Snow-covered roofs create perfect insulation that keeps homes naturally quieter. A thick layer of snow on a roof acts as an additional insulating layer, not just keeping heat in, but also keeping sound out. The air pockets in snow absorb vibrations from outside noise, creating a buffer that makes indoor spaces feel more peaceful and secluded. Rain, wind, and other weather sounds become muffled and distant when filtered through snow. This natural soundproofing effect contributes to the cozy, protected feeling that many people associate with being indoors during winter storms. The house itself becomes a quieter, more contemplative space when wrapped in its winter blanket. Winter sunsets last longer and display more vivid colors than summer sunsets. The sun's lower angle during winter months means it takes longer to disappear below the horizon, extending the period of beautiful twilight colors. Cold air is often clearer than warm air, allowing colors to appear more saturated and vibrant. The longer shadows and reflected light from snow-covered surfaces create additional opportunities for dramatic lighting effects. Winter sunsets often display deeper purples, more intense oranges, and softer pinks that seem to glow against the white landscape. These extended periods of beautiful light provide natural opportunities for quiet reflection and appreciation of the day's gentle close. Frozen waterfalls create natural ice sculptures of incredible complexity. When flowing water gradually freezes, it creates formations that seem to capture motion in solid form. These ice sculptures show every ripple, splash, and cascade frozen in time, preserving the water's movement in crystal clear detail. The process happens slowly, with layers of ice building up over weeks or months to create massive formations that can tower dozens of feet high. Each frozen waterfall is unique, shaped by the specific flow patterns, temperature changes, and wind conditions present during its formation. These natural ice cathedrals become gathering places for quiet contemplation, their beauty enhanced by the silence of their frozen state. Winter herbs and teas contain compounds that naturally promote relaxation and warmth. Many plants that thrive in cold conditions develop chemical compounds that help humans cope with winter's challenges. Chamomile, peppermint, and ginger all contain natural relaxants that become more concentrated during their winter harvest periods. Pine needle tea, traditionally used by northern cultures, contains vitamin C and compounds that support immune function while providing a warming, forest-like aroma. The ritual of brewing and sipping warm herbal teas naturally slows down the pace of daily life, creating moments of mindful pause in the busy day. These winter beverages work on multiple levels, providing physical warmth, emotional comfort, and beneficial nutrients. Snow acts as a natural time-release system for spring water supplies. Rather than running off immediately like summer rain, snow accumulates slowly throughout winter and then melts gradually in spring, providing a steady supply of fresh water when plants need it most. This natural storage system ensures that mountain streams continue flowing long after the snow has stopped falling, supporting ecosystems throughout the growing season. The slow melting process also filters the water naturally as it percolates through layers of snow and soil. This patient, seasonal water cycle represents nature's wisdom in storing resources during abundant times to support life during leaner periods. Winter birds develop special adaptations that make them living examples of peaceful endurance. Cardinals, chickadees, and other year-round residents grow extra layers of down feathers that trap warm air close to their bodies. They also develop behavioral adaptations like roosting together in sheltered spots and entering brief periods of torpor to conserve energy. These birds don't struggle against winter. They embrace it with remarkable grace and efficiency. Their songs become softer and less frequent, creating a more contemplative soundtrack to winter days. Watching these small creatures navigate winter with such calm competence can be deeply inspiring and peaceful. Ice crystals form in mathematical patterns called fractals that repeat at every scale. Whether it's frost on a window, ice on a pond, or snowflakes in the air, frozen water naturally organizes itself according to precise geometric principles. These patterns are the same whether viewed under a microscope or from across a frozen field. The repetition of similar shapes at different sizes creates a sense of order and harmony that many people find deeply satisfying to contemplate. These natural fractals connect the microscopic world of ice crystal formation with the macroscopic patterns we see in winter landscapes, revealing the underlying mathematical beauty of the natural world. Winter air pressure changes create the peaceful feeling of approaching snow. Many people can sense when snow is coming, feeling a subtle shift in the atmosphere that signals changing weather. This sensation comes from actual changes in barometric pressure that occur before winter storms. As pressure drops, it can create a feeling of lightness or calm that many find pleasant and relaxing. The ions in the air also change before snowfall, contributing to the fresh, energized feeling that often precedes winter storms. This natural weather sensitivity connects us to ancient patterns of atmospheric awareness that helped our ancestors prepare for seasonal changes. Evergreen trees release aromatic compounds that have natural stress-relieving properties. Pine, spruce, and fir trees produce volatile organic compounds that give forests their distinctive winter scent. These compounds, called phytoncides, have been shown to reduce stress hormones and boost immune function in humans. The concentration of these beneficial compounds is often highest during winter months, when the trees are conserving energy and focusing on protection rather than growth. Walking through an evergreen forest in winter provides a form of natural aromatherapy that can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and promote feelings of well-being and connection to nature. Winter sleep patterns naturally align with lunar cycles more than summer sleep. During winter's long nights, many people find their sleep patterns shifting to align more closely with the phases of the moon. The absence of artificial light pollution combined with longer periods of darkness allows the subtle influence of lunar cycles to become more apparent. Full moons may feel more energizing, while new moons encourage deeper rest. This natural alignment with celestial rhythms represents a return to sleep patterns that humans followed for thousands of years before electric lighting disrupted our connection to natural light cycles. Frozen breath creates temporary clouds that connect us to the water cycle. When you breathe out on a cold day and see your breath form a small cloud, you're witnessing a miniature version of the same process that creates weather systems. The warm, humid air from your lungs meets the cold air and instantly condenses into tiny water droplets, just like clouds forming in the atmosphere. These small personal clouds last only moments before dissipating, but they represent a direct connection between your body and the larger atmospheric processes that create weather. This simple phenomenon reminds us that we're part of the same water cycle that creates snow, rain, and the seasonal changes that shape our world. Winter landscapes naturally reduce decision fatigue by simplifying visual choices. The monochrome palette of snow-covered environments eliminates much of the visual complexity that can overwhelm our decision-making processes during other seasons. With fewer colors, textures, and details to process, our brains can rest from the constant work of sorting and categorizing visual information. This natural simplification can be deeply restful for minds that are accustomed to processing hundreds of visual decisions each day. The peaceful feeling that many people experience in snow-covered landscapes partly comes from this reduction in cognitive load, allowing mental energy to be directed toward contemplation and relaxation instead of visual processing. Snowdrifts form natural windbreaks that create pockets of surprising stillness. When wind encounters obstacles like buildings, trees, or rocks, it deposits snow in predictable patterns that actually calm the very forces that created them. These sculpted formations act as barriers against future winds, creating sheltered microclimates where the air becomes remarkably still. Walking behind a large snowdrift can feel like stepping into a different world, where the harsh winter wind suddenly disappears and the air feels gentle and protected. These natural shelters demonstrate how winter landscapes gradually modify themselves, creating increasingly peaceful conditions as the season progresses. The sound of footsteps in fresh snow has a unique acoustic signature that many find deeply satisfying. Each step compresses thousands of ice crystals, creating a soft crunching sound that varies depending on temperature and snow consistency. In very cold conditions, the snow is drier and produces a higher-pitched squeak. In warmer conditions near freezing, the sound becomes deeper and more muffled as the crystals have more moisture content. This natural feedback with each step creates a rhythmic, meditative quality to winter walking. The sound is so distinctive that people can often determine snow conditions and temperature just by listening to their footsteps. Winter moths are among the few creatures that become more active as temperatures drop. These delicate insects have adapted to thrive in cold conditions that would disable most other flying creatures. They produce natural antifreeze compounds in their bodies and time their life cycles to take advantage of winter's reduced competition. Watching a winter moth flutter through falling snow creates an almost surreal scene, like witnessing nature's quiet rebellion against the season's supposed dormancy. Their presence reminds us that life finds ways to flourish, even in conditions that seem impossibly harsh, moving with gentle determination through the cold night air. Bare ground shows through snow in patterns that reveal underground warmth sources. Even in deep winter, certain areas remain snow-free or melt first, creating natural maps of the Earth's hidden thermal activity. These patches often occur above underground streams, septic systems, or areas where the Earth's geothermal energy reaches closer to the surface. The resulting patterns can be surprisingly artistic, forming organic shapes and lines across otherwise uniform snowfields. These warm spots become gathering places for wildlife and create small ecosystems of continued activity even in the depths of winter's apparent stillness. Winter stars shine more steadily than summer stars due to the stable, cold atmosphere. The twinkling effect we see in stars is caused by atmospheric turbulence, and winter's cold, dense air is often much more stable than summer's warm, rise-in air currents. This atmospheric calm allows starlight to reach us with less distortion, making the stars appear to shine with a steady, peaceful glow, rather than the rapid flickering common in warmer months. The effect is most noticeable on clear, very cold nights, when the atmosphere is particularly stable and transparent. Snow crystals can preserve microscopic pieces of history in their structure. As snowflakes form high in the atmosphere, they capture tiny particles of dust, pollen, and even volcanic ash that has traveled vast distances. Each flake becomes a frozen time capsule, holding samples of atmospheric conditions from when and where it formed. Scientists can analyze old snow layers to learn about past climate conditions, volcanic eruptions, and even human pollution levels from decades ago. Every snowflake that lands carries within it a story of its journey through the atmosphere, making each winter storm a gentle rain of historical evidence. Winter root vegetables develop sweeter flavors as they convert starches to sugars for freeze protection. Carrots, parsnips, and turnips that experience frost become noticeably sweeter and more flavorful than those harvested before cold weather. This natural process happens as the plants convert stored starches into sugars, which act as antifreeze to protect their cells from ice damage. The result is produce that tastes remarkably different from summer vegetables, with complex sweet flavors that seem designed for cold weather comfort. This seasonal transformation connects our winter food preferences with the natural chemical changes happening in the plants themselves. Frozen spider webs become visible art installations that normally remain hidden. When frost or snow coats the nearly invisible silk threads that spiders weave, these intricate structures suddenly become visible as delicate white sculptures suspended between branches and fence posts. The geometric precision of these webs becomes apparent only when winter reveals them, showing the remarkable engineering that surrounds us unnoticed during warmer months. Each web is a masterpiece of natural architecture, made visible by winter's gentle touch, and usually lasting only until the first warm rays of sun cause the frost to disappear. Winter cloud formations move more slowly and deliberately than summer clouds. Cold air masses are denser and more stable than warm air, which means winter clouds often appear to drift across the sky with stately, unhurried grace. This slower movement creates more opportunities to observe cloud formations as they gradually change shape and position. The dramatic contrast between dark clouds and white snow below often makes winter skies particularly striking and contemplative. Time seems to slow down when watching winter clouds, their leisurely pace encouraging a similar unhurried state of mind in the observer. Some animals change the color of their eyes during winter months. Arctic foxes, snowshoe hares, and several other species develop lighter colored eyes as part of their winter adaptations. This change helps them process the different quality of winter light more effectively, while also contributing to their seasonal camouflage. The transformation usually happens gradually over several weeks as daylight hours decrease, representing another subtle way that life adapts to winter's changing conditions. These seasonal eye color changes remind us that adaptation to winter involves modifications we might never notice without careful observation. Snow-covered solar panels can actually improve efficiency on sunny winter days. While snow blocks panels when it accumulates, the high reflectivity of surrounding snow can increase the amount of light reaching clean panels by reflecting additional sunlight from multiple angles. Cold temperatures also improve solar panel efficiency, as photovoltaic cells work better in cooler conditions. The combination of reflected light from snow and improved cold weather performance can make clear winter days surprisingly productive for solar energy generation. This unexpected winter benefit shows how snow's reflective properties can create advantages in unexpected places. Winter tree sap moves so slowly, it essentially stops, entering a state of suspended animation. Unlike the rapid sap flow of spring and summer, winter tree circulation becomes almost imperceptible, with nutrients and water moving through the wood at rates measured in inches per week rather than feet per hour. This dramatic slowdown represents the tree's transition to its most restful state, conserving energy and protecting itself from freeze damage. The sap that does move becomes more concentrated with sugars and other compounds that act as natural antifreeze, showing how trees chemically prepare themselves for their long winter sleep. Frost flowers form on the surface of thin sea ice in conditions of perfect calm. These delicate ice formations grow when water vapor sublimates directly into crystal structures, creating formations that look remarkably like white flowers blooming on the frozen ocean surface. The process requires very specific conditions of temperature, humidity, and absolute stillness, making frost flowers a rare and ephemeral phenomenon. When they do occur, they create fields of what appears to be white vegetation growing on the ice, a surreal landscape that exists only in the calmest winter conditions, before wind or warming destroys these fragile formations. Winter air naturally contains fewer allergens and irritants than air in other seasons. Most plants stop producing pollen. Mold spores decrease dramatically in cold conditions, and dust mites become less active in the dry winter air. For many people, winter air provides relief from seasonal allergies and respiratory irritation. The clean, crisp quality of winter air isn't just subjective, it's measurably purer in terms of biological particles and allergens. This natural air purification contributes to the refreshing feeling of breathing deeply on a cold winter day. Snow loading on tree branches follows mathematical principles that prevent most breakage. Trees have evolved branch angles and flexibility that allow them to hold surprising amounts of snow without snapping. The weight distributes along the branch in ways that usually bend rather than break the wood, and the gradual loading process allows the tree to adjust incrementally rather than experiencing sudden stress. When branches do break under snow load, it's often the tree's way of pruning itself, removing weaker growth to protect the main structure. This natural engineering shows how trees have adapted over millennia to work with winter conditions rather than simply enduring them. Winter beekeeping reveals that hives maintain tropical temperatures even in freezing weather. Inside a winter beehive, temperatures stay around 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, even when outside air is well below freezing. The bees accomplish this remarkable feat by clustering together and vibrating their flight muscles to generate heat, while the outer bees form an insulating layer that retains warmth. The colony consumes stored honey to fuel this heating process, essentially running a biological furnace throughout the cold months. This hidden tropical microclimate existing within winter landscapes represents one of nature's most impressive examples of collective temperature regulation. Icicle formation follows patterns that mirror musical scales and mathematical harmonics. The rate at which water drips and freezes to form icicles creates natural rhythms that often correspond to mathematical ratios found in music. The resulting icicles frequently form in groups where their lengths relate to each other in proportions similar to musical intervals. Some observers have noted that arrays of icicles seem to create visual representations of frozen music, with their varying lengths suggesting the stopped motion of a complex melody. This connection between ice formation and harmonic principles adds another layer of peaceful order to winter's natural artistry. Snow acts as a giant natural diffuser, spreading light evenly and eliminating harsh shadows. The countless ice crystals in snow scatter sunlight in all directions, creating the soft, even illumination characteristic of overcast, snowy days. This natural light diffusion eliminates the stark contrasts and deep shadows common in direct sunlight, creating lighting conditions that photographers prize for their flattering, gentle quality. The effect is similar to professional lighting equipment designed to create soft, even illumination, but on a landscape scale that transforms entire regions into naturally lit studios. Winter storms create electrical fields that can be felt by sensitive individuals. The movement of ice crystals and snow particles generates static electricity on a massive scale, creating electrical fields that extend well beyond the storm itself. Some people report feeling energized or experiencing subtle physical sensations before winter storms arrive, possibly due to sensitivity to these electrical changes in the atmosphere. This phenomenon connects winter weather to the body's electrical systems, suggesting another way that seasonal changes influence our physical and emotional states through mechanisms we're only beginning to understand. Frozen lakes produce sounds that range from musical tones to otherworldly groans, As ice expands and contracts with temperature changes, it creates acoustic phenomena that can be heard for miles. These sounds vary from bell-like tones when the ice is thin and flexible to deep, resonant groans when thick ice sheets shift against each other. The sounds are often most pronounced during periods of rapid temperature change, creating a natural winter symphony that plays out across frozen landscapes. Many people find these ice sounds mysteriously beautiful, like the earth itself singing in response to winter's touch. Winter seed dispersal happens through wind patterns that only exist in cold conditions. Many plants time their seed release to take advantage of winter's unique wind patterns and the reduced competition for growing space. Seeds travel farther in the dense, steady winds of winter, and snow provides a gentle landing surface that protects seeds from damage while gradually melting to provide spring moisture. This patient approach to reproduction shows how plants use winter not as a time of dormancy, but as a strategic season for positioning the next generation in optimal locations. Night skiing and winter sports under artificial lights create meditative experiences impossible in other seasons. The combination of rhythmic physical movement, controlled breathing required in cold air, and the simplified visual environment of snow under lights naturally induces flow states. The repetitive, gliding motions of skiing or skating synchronize with heartbeat and breathing patterns, while the cold air demands deeper, more mindful respiration. These activities offer a unique form of moving meditation that combines physical exercise with the peaceful mental states associated with winter landscapes. Winter's longer nights naturally increase dream activity and dream recall. The extended periods of darkness trigger increased REM sleep cycles, the phase when most vivid dreaming occurs. Many people report more frequent and memorable dreams during winter months, possibly due to the longer sleep periods and increased melatonin production. The quiet environment of winter nights also reduces sleep disruptions, allowing for more complete sleep cycles and better dream formation. This seasonal increase in dream activity connects winter with enhanced creativity and subconscious processing, making the season naturally conducive to introspection and imagination. Winter hibernation affects even the smallest soil creatures in surprisingly gentle ways. Earthworms burrow deeper into the ground where temperatures remain stable, entering a state of reduced activity that's remarkably similar to meditation. Their metabolism slows dramatically, their movement becomes minimal, and they exist in a peaceful suspension between seasons. These tiny underground dwellers don't struggle against winter's cold. Instead, they sink deeper into the Earth's warmth and wait with infinite patience. The soil around them remains active with slow microbial processes, creating a hidden ecosystem of quiet persistence beneath the frozen surface. Candle flames burn differently in winter air, creating a more stable and peaceful light. The cold, dense air of winter provides ideal conditions for steady flame combustion, with less air turbulence to cause flickering. Winter candles burn with taller, more consistent flames that seem to dance less frantically than summer candles affected by warm air currents. The light appears warmer and more golden against the cool environment, creating a stronger contrast that makes indoor spaces feel more intimate and protected. This natural improvement in flame stability explains why candles feel more comforting and effective during winter months. Snow-covered fields create natural amphitheaters with unique acoustic properties. The undulating drifts and hollows formed by wind-sculpted snow create sound chambers that amplify whispers while muffling harsh noises. These natural formations can carry soft voices across surprising distances while absorbing the sharp sounds that might disturb winter's peace. Walking through snow-covered farmland or meadows often reveals these acoustic sweet spots where normal conversation becomes amplified in mysterious ways, creating moments of unexpected connection with distant companions. Winter moths navigate using polarized moonlight filtered through ice crystals. These remarkable insects can detect the polarization patterns in moonlight that has passed through atmospheric ice, using this information to maintain straight flight paths on the coldest nights. Their navigation system works even when the moon is hidden behind clouds, as they can sense the polarized light scattered by ice crystals in the atmosphere. This sophisticated sensory ability allows them to fly with purpose and direction through winter conditions that would disorient most other creatures. Frozen streams create natural percussion instruments as moving water hits ice formations. The sound of water flowing beneath and around ice creates rhythmic tapping, bubbling, and chiming sounds that form complex natural music. Each stream develops its own acoustic signature based on the size and shape of its ice formations, the speed of water flow, and the depth of the channel. These winter water songs often follow patterns that seem almost composed, with recurring themes and variations that change subtly as ice formations grow and shift throughout the season. Snow depth affects the behavior of underground root systems in fascinating ways. Deeper snow creates better insulation for soil, allowing tree and plant roots to remain more active throughout winter. In areas with consistent snow cover, root systems continue slow growth and nutrient absorption, while in areas with thin or inconsistent snow, roots enter deeper dormancy. This hidden underground activity means that heavily snow-covered areas often show more vigorous spring growth, as the plants maintained more metabolic activity through winter's protection. Winter spiderwebs demonstrate remarkable engineering principles when loaded with frost. The radial and spiral design of spiderwebs distributes the weight of accumulated frost and snow in ways that prevent structural failure. The silk becomes more visible when coated with ice crystals, revealing the mathematical precision of the web's construction. These temporary ice sculptures show how the spider's engineering instinctively accounts for seasonal loading, with thread placement and tension designed to handle winter's additional weight without losing structural integrity. Evergreen needles contain natural compounds that become more concentrated in winter cold. These protective chemicals, including natural antifreeze proteins and aromatic compounds, reach peak concentration during the coldest months. The scent of pine and spruce becomes more intense and complex in winter air, carrying therapeutic compounds that can reduce stress and improve respiratory function. Breathing deeply near evergreen trees during winter provides a natural form of aromatherapy that's most potent during the season when we need it most. Winter bird feeding creates micro-communities of remarkable social cooperation. Different bird species develop feeding hierarchies and time-sharing arrangements around winter food sources, with larger birds often feeding first while smaller species wait their turn. Cardinals, chickadees, and nuthatches establish complex social patterns that reduce conflict and ensure all species get adequate nutrition. These peaceful feeding communities demonstrate how winter scarcity encourages cooperation rather than competition among wildlife. Frost forms in patterns that follow the microscopic landscape of surfaces. Every tiny imperfection, scratch, or variation in a surface becomes the starting point for frost crystal formation, creating intricate maps of invisible textures. Window frost reveals the microscopic history of the glass, showing where cleaning cloths moved, where fingerprints once touched, or where manufacturing processes left barely visible marks. These frost patterns make the invisible visible, turning ordinary surfaces into detailed topographical maps written in ice. Snow-covered gardens continue photosynthesis at extremely reduced rates through their buried green parts. Many perennial plants maintain small amounts of chlorophyll in stems and root collars that remain active even under snow cover. This minimal photosynthetic activity helps sustain the plant through winter and provides a head start for spring growth. The process happens so slowly it's nearly undetectable, but represents the plant's quiet determination to maintain life processes even in winter's apparent dormancy. Winter air pressure variations create subtle changes in joint comfort that many people can sense. The steady, high-pressure systems common in clear winter weather often provide relief for those with arthritis or joint sensitivity. The stable atmospheric conditions reduce the pressure changes that can cause joint discomfort, making winter's clear, cold days feel surprisingly comfortable for weather-sensitive individuals. This meteorological effect partly explains why many people report feeling physically better during stable winter weather periods. Snowflake preservation in freezing conditions allows detailed study of their infinite variety. When temperatures are well below freezing, individual snowflakes can be captured and preserved long enough to reveal their incredible structural diversity. Each crystal shows evidence of its unique atmospheric journey, with growth patterns that record temperature and humidity changes encountered during formation. The preserved flakes reveal details invisible to casual observation, including the precise geometric relationships that govern ice crystal growth. Winter tree identification becomes easier as distinctive bark patterns and branching structures are revealed. Without leaves to obscure their architecture, trees display the characteristic growth patterns, bark textures, and branch arrangements that make identification possible, even for casual observers. Each species shows its unique approach to structural engineering, from the smooth curves of beech bark to the distinctive diamond patterns of ash trees. This winter clarity makes tree study more accessible and meditative, focusing attention on form and structure rather than the complexity of foliage. Frozen waterfalls create natural ice climbing routes that change daily with temperature fluctuations. These formations represent constantly evolving sculptures, with new ice formations appearing overnight, while others melt or shift position. The slow process of waterfall freezing creates layers of ice with different densities and textures, forming natural holds and features that seem almost designed for human interaction. Each frozen waterfall becomes a unique, temporary climbing wall that exists only under specific winter conditions. Snow-covered solar gain through south-facing windows increases during winter months, despite shorter days. The high reflectivity of snow can double the amount of light entering south-facing windows, as sunlight bounces off snow-covered surfaces and enters buildings from angles impossible during other seasons. This reflected light is often softer and more diffuse than direct sunlight, providing natural illumination that feels gentle and even throughout rooms. The effect is most pronounced when fresh snow covers the ground outside large windows. Winter animal tracking reveals detailed stories written in snow. Each set of tracks tells a complete narrative about the animal's behavior, from hunting patterns to social interactions to responses to weather changes. Snow preserves these stories with remarkable detail, showing where animals paused, changed direction, or interacted with other creatures. The temporary nature of these snow stories makes each tracking opportunity unique, as new snowfall erases old tales and provides fresh pages for new narratives. Icicle acoustics create natural wind chimes when air movement causes them to strike each other. Large icicle formations produce surprisingly musical tones when touched by wind or when thermal expansion causes them to shift position. The hollow structure of some icicles acts as resonating chambers, amplifying and modifying the sounds they produce. These natural percussion instruments create subtle winter music that adds an acoustic dimension to the visual beauty of ice formations. Winter greenhouse effects occur naturally in snow caves and quinzees. The insulating properties of snow combined with body heat can raise temperatures inside snow shelters by 40 or 50 degrees compared to outside air. This dramatic temperature difference demonstrates snow's effectiveness as a building material and explains how wildlife creates comfortable winter dens using nothing but accumulated snow. The physics behind these natural shelters shows how winter provides its own solutions to the challenges it creates. Bare winter landscapes reveal geological features hidden during growing seasons. Rock formations, soil patterns, and topographical details become clearly visible when vegetation dies back and snow cover is light. Winter hiking often reveals landscape features that remain invisible during summer months, from ancient stone walls to subtle changes in elevation that influence drainage patterns. These geological discoveries add layers of historical and scientific interest to winter outdoor activities. Snow crystal formation requires the perfect balance of temperature, humidity, and atmospheric stability. The most beautiful and complex snowflakes form under very specific conditions that create a narrow window of optimal crystal growth. These conditions occur most frequently during gentle winter storms, when atmospheric conditions remain stable for extended periods. Understanding the meteorological requirements for exceptional snowflake formation helps explain why some snowfalls produce particularly memorable displays of natural artistry. Winter plant dormancy involves active preparation processes that begin months before cold weather arrives. Trees and shrubs start winter preparations during late summer, gradually reducing chlorophyll production, strengthening cell walls, and concentrating nutrients in protected areas. This preparation process is remarkably complex, involving genetic programming that responds to subtle changes in daylight length and temperature patterns. The apparent simplicity of winter dormancy masks sophisticated biological processes that ensure survival and spring renewal. Frozen ground creates unique soil conditions that benefit certain types of plant growth. The freeze-thaw cycle naturally cultivates soil by creating air spaces and breaking up compacted areas. Winter frost penetration also helps control soil-dwelling pests and diseases, creating cleaner growing conditions for spring planting. Many gardeners recognize winter as an essential soil preparation season, when natural processes improve growing conditions without human intervention. Snow-covered rooftops create temporary ecosystems for cold-adapted microorganisms. The interface between snow and roof surfaces provides habitat for specialized bacteria and fungi that thrive in cold conditions. These microscopic communities process organic matter trapped in snow and contribute to the gradual breakdown of accumulated debris. The biological activity in snow-covered roof environments represents a hidden ecosystem that exists only during winter months. Winter wind patterns create predictable microclimates that persist throughout the season. Buildings, hills, and tree lines create wind shadows and acceleration zones that remain consistent during winter months, forming reliable pockets of calmer or more turbulent air. Understanding these microclimate patterns helps explain why certain areas consistently accumulate more snow, experience less wind chill, or maintain different temperature ranges than nearby locations. Frozen pond surfaces provide temporary habitat for winter-active insects and spiders. Some arthropods remain active on ice surfaces, taking advantage of the unique environment created by frozen water. These creatures have developed specialized adaptations for moving on ice, including modified leg structures and antifreeze compounds in their body fluids. Their presence on frozen ponds creates unexpected wildlife viewing opportunities during winter months. Snow metamorphism transforms the internal structure of accumulated snow layers over time. Fresh snow gradually changes texture, density, and crystal structure through processes of sublimation, melting, and refreezing. These changes create layered snow profiles that tell the story of each snowfall and the weather conditions that followed. Understanding snow metamorphism helps explain why snow conditions change dramatically, even without new precipitation. Winter seed germination occurs for certain plant species that require cold stratification. Some seeds actually need exposure to freezing temperatures before they can successfully germinate in spring. This cold requirement ensures that seeds don't sprout during warm winter days that might be followed by killing frosts. The process represents another example of how plants use winter conditions as part of their reproductive strategy, rather than simply enduring the season. Thermal imaging reveals the hidden heat signatures of winter landscapes. Even in freezing conditions, different materials and surfaces retain and emit heat at varying rates, creating invisible patterns that become visible through thermal photography. These heat patterns show the insulating effectiveness of snow cover, the thermal mass of rocks and buildings, and the heat output of living creatures moving through winter environments. Winter star photography benefits from the cold air's superior optical qualities. Cold air holds less moisture and creates fewer thermal disturbances than warm air, resulting in sharper, clearer astronomical images. The long winter nights provide extended opportunities for deep sky photography, while the cold temperatures improve camera sensor performance and reduce electronic noise. These optimal conditions make winter an ideal season for amateur and professional astronomers alike. Snow-covered meadows develop complex layered ecosystems between the ground and snow surface. This subnivean environment maintains temperatures much warmer than surface conditions, creating habitat for small mammals, insects, and continued plant processes. The space between soil and snow becomes a hidden world of tunnels, chambers, and continued biological activity that supports wildlife throughout winter months. Winter tree surgery and pruning take advantage of dormant season conditions. Many tree care activities are best performed during winter, when trees are dormant and less likely to experience stress from cutting or manipulation. The absence of leaves makes tree structure clearly visible, while cold conditions reduce the risk of disease transmission and insect infestation. Winter pruning also allows trees to direct energy toward healing before spring growth demands begin. Frost penetration depths follow predictable patterns based on soil type, moisture content, and snow cover. Understanding these patterns helps explain everything from foundation design requirements to spring planting schedules. Areas with deeper frost penetration experience different soil conditions and growing seasons than areas where frost remains shallow. These differences create distinct regional growing patterns that persist throughout the agricultural year. Winter humidity levels naturally decrease as cold air holds less moisture than warm air. This reduced humidity affects everything from human comfort to static electricity generation to the preservation of materials and artifacts. The dry winter air creates conditions that can be challenging for respiratory health, but beneficial for preventing mold growth and moisture-related damage. Understanding winter humidity patterns helps explain many seasonal changes in indoor and outdoor environments. Snow loading calculations determine the structural requirements for buildings in winter climates. Engineers must account for both the weight of accumulated snow and the dynamic forces created by wind-driven snow redistribution. These calculations influence everything from roof design to foundation requirements, showing how winter conditions shape human architecture and construction practices. The engineering principles developed for snow loading have applications far beyond building design. Winter wildlife photography requires understanding of animal behavior changes during cold months. Many species alter their daily routines, preferred habitats, and social behaviors in response to winter conditions. Successful winter wildlife observation depends on recognizing these behavioral changes and adapting human observation techniques accordingly. The rewards include viewing wildlife behaviors that occur only during winter months and capturing images impossible during other seasons. Frozen morning dew creates microscopic ice gardens on every surface. When temperatures drop just below freezing during the night, the moisture that settles on grass, leaves, and spiderwebs transforms into countless tiny ice crystals. Each blade of grass becomes decorated with delicate ice formations that look like miniature coral reefs or frozen ferns. These ice gardens exist only in the brief window between dawn and the first warming rays of sun, creating ephemeral art galleries that disappear as quickly as they form. The intricate detail visible in these formations rivals anything created by human artisans, yet they form naturally through the simple interaction of moisture and cold air. Winter fog moves with dreamlike slowness through valleys and low-lying areas. Cold air holds less moisture than warm air, so winter fog tends to be thinner and more ethereal than summer fog. It drifts through bare tree branches like ghostly fingers, revealing and concealing landscape features in slow, hypnotic waves. The fog often forms in layers, creating mysterious landscapes where hilltops emerge like islands above a sea of white. Walking through winter fog feels like moving through a living cloud, with visibility changing moment by moment as the mist shifts and swirls around you. Snow-covered stone walls become natural temperature regulators for their surroundings. The thermal mass of stone absorbs heat during sunny winter days and releases it slowly during cold nights, creating microclimates that can be several degrees warmer than nearby areas. Snow acts as additional insulation on top of these walls, trapping the stored heat and extending the warming effect. Plants growing near snow-covered stone walls often show less winter damage than those in open areas, as the walls provide both physical shelter and thermal protection throughout the coldest months. Winter rainstorms on snow create unique soundscapes as water droplets hit accumulated snow layers. The sound varies dramatically depending on snow density and depth, ranging from soft pattering on fresh powder to sharper tapping on crusted surfaces. As the rain soaks through snow layers, it creates subtle bubbling and trickling sounds that seem to come from within the snowpack itself. These rain-on-snow events often produce some of winter's most complex and soothing natural sound effects, combining the familiar rhythm of rainfall with the muffled acoustics of snow-covered landscapes. Deciduous trees in winter reveal their unique bark ecosystems that remain active despite cold temperatures. Many species of lichens, mosses, and small insects continue their life processes on tree bark throughout winter months. These bark communities create subtle color variations and textures that become the primary visual interest of leafless trees. Some bark surfaces develop seasonal color changes as different organisms respond to winter conditions, creating natural art installations that persist throughout the dormant season. Close examination of winter tree bark reveals intricate communities of life that remain active when most other organisms have entered dormancy. Ice dam formation on roofs creates temporary waterfalls and ice sculptures that change daily. When warm air from heated buildings melts snow on rooftops, the resulting water refreezes at roof edges, where temperatures remain below freezing. This process creates dramatic ice formations that grow throughout winter, sometimes reaching from roof to ground in spectacular frozen cascades. Each warm day followed by cold nights adds new layers to these formations, creating unique ice sculptures that exist only for the duration of specific weather patterns. The constantly changing nature of these ice dams makes them fascinating subjects for daily observation throughout winter. Winter composting continues at dramatically reduced rates, but never completely stops. Even in freezing conditions, the interior of compost piles maintains enough biological activity to slowly break down organic matter. The insulating effect of the compost materials themselves keeps internal temperatures above freezing, allowing beneficial bacteria and fungi to continue their work at reduced rates. This slow winter composting creates different end products than warm weather decomposition, often resulting in richer, more complex organic matter that provides superior soil conditioning when temperatures warm in spring. Snowshoe hares develop oversized feet that function like natural snowshoes for winter travel. Their feet nearly double in size during winter months as additional fur grows between their toes and around their foot pads. This adaptation allows them to move across snow surfaces that would not support their weight during other seasons. The extra fur also provides insulation against cold snow contact, while creating the surface area needed for snow travel. Watching snowshoe hares move across deep snow demonstrates one of nature's most elegant solutions to winter mobility challenges. Winter solstice represents the astronomical moment when daylight begins its slow return. Despite being the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice marks the turning point when days gradually begin lengthening again. This celestial event has been celebrated by cultures throughout history as a symbol of hope and renewal during winter's darkest period. The actual moment of solstice occurs when the sun reaches its lowest point in the sky, creating the longest shadows and most angled sunlight of the entire year. Understanding this astronomical event adds depth to the experience of winter's progression from darkness toward light. Frozen puddles create natural ice rinks that demonstrate the physics of heat transfer. Small bodies of water freeze from the edges inward and from the surface downward, creating ice formations that show the progression of freezing in visible layers. These miniature ice rinks often trap air bubbles, leaves, and other debris in beautiful patterns that remain visible throughout their frozen state. The thickness and clarity of puddle ice varies with freezing conditions, creating everything from crystal clear surfaces to cloudy textured formations that scatter light in interesting ways. Winter bird behavior includes food caching strategies that continue throughout the cold months. Many species hide seeds, nuts, and other food sources in tree bark crevices, under roof eaves, and in other protected locations during autumn, then retrieve these supplies throughout winter. Chickadees and nuthatches can remember thousands of hiding places, demonstrating remarkable spatial memory abilities that ensure survival during food-scarce periods. Observing these retrieval behaviors provides insight into the complex planning abilities of seemingly simple creatures. Snow crystals act as tiny prisms that create rainbow effects in bright winter sunlight. When conditions are right, snow-covered surfaces can display subtle color spectrums as sunlight refracts through individual ice crystals. These rainbow effects are usually brief and subtle, appearing as faint color washes across snowfields or as momentary sparkles of colored light. The phenomenon is most visible when snow crystals are large and well-formed, creating optimal conditions for light refraction. These natural light shows add unexpected moments of color to winter's predominantly monochrome palette. Winter herb gardens continue producing certain cold-hardy plants that actually improve in flavor after frost exposure. Kale, Brussels sprouts, and some herbs develop sweeter, more complex flavors when exposed to freezing temperatures. These plants convert starches to sugars as a freeze protection mechanism, resulting in improved taste that makes them particularly valuable winter food sources. Many experienced gardeners plan their harvest schedules to take advantage of these post-frost flavor improvements, treating cold exposure as a natural flavor enhancement process. Thermal springs create oases of warmth that support unique ecosystems throughout winter months. Areas around natural hot springs maintain green vegetation and support wildlife populations that would otherwise struggle in winter conditions. These thermal environments create striking contrasts with surrounding winter landscapes, often featuring steam clouds that rise dramatically in cold air. The warm water temperatures support continued plant growth and provide habitat for creatures that remain active throughout winter. These natural warm spots demonstrate how geological features can create entirely different seasonal experiences within the same geographic region. Snow-covered vehicles develop unique aerodynamic properties as accumulated snow changes their shape and surface texture. The rounded forms created by snow accumulation often improve the aerodynamic efficiency of cars and trucks, reducing wind resistance during winter driving. Fresh snow creates a smooth surface that can actually reduce drag compared to the vehicle's original design, while packed snow maintains these beneficial shape changes for extended periods. Understanding these aerodynamic effects helps explain why some vehicles seem to perform differently under various winter conditions. Winter archaeology becomes possible in areas where snow cover reveals landscape features invisible during growing seasons. The contrast between snow and exposed soil or stone makes ancient foundations, wall lines, and earthwork features clearly visible from aerial perspectives. Ground-penetrating radar and other archaeological tools work differently in frozen soil conditions, sometimes providing better resolution of underground features. Many significant archaeological discoveries have been made during winter months when optimal viewing and detection conditions exist. Crystalline formations in winter extend beyond snow and ice to include frost flowers, window frost, and atmospheric ice crystals. Each type of crystal formation follows different physical rules and creates distinct aesthetic effects. Hoarfrost grows in feathery patterns that seem to defy gravity, while window frost creates fern-like designs that mirror the microscopic imperfections in glass surfaces. Atmospheric ice crystals create the sparkling effects visible in very cold air, particularly around artificial light sources during nighttime hours. Winter wildlife adaptations include behavioral changes that make animals more approachable and observable. Many species become less skittish during winter months as their energy conservation needs override their usual wariness of humans. Birds visit feeders more regularly and stay longer during each visit, while mammals often forage closer to human habitation when natural food sources become scarce. These behavioral changes create enhanced opportunities for wildlife observation and photography during winter months, as animals focus more on survival needs than predator avoidance. Snow depth measurements reveal patterns of wind direction, terrain influence, and microclimate effects across landscapes. Professional meteorologists and amateur weather enthusiasts use snow depth variations to understand local weather patterns and predict future snow accumulation areas. Areas that consistently accumulate deeper snow often become important wildlife habitat and water sources, while areas that remain relatively snow-free provide different ecological functions. These patterns persist from year to year, creating predictable landscape features that influence everything from plant communities to animal movement patterns. Winter maintenance of outdoor equipment requires understanding how different materials respond to repeated freeze-thaw cycles. Metals contract and expand at different rates. Plastics become brittle in extreme cold, and rubber compounds lose flexibility when temperatures drop. Proper winter storage and maintenance techniques take advantage of material science principles to prevent damage and extend equipment life. Many maintenance tasks are actually easier to perform during winter months when equipment is not in active use and storage conditions are more predictable. Frozen ground creates natural refrigeration conditions that have been used for food preservation throughout human history. Root cellars, ice houses, and other traditional food storage methods take advantage of winter's natural refrigeration to preserve food without artificial cooling. Understanding these traditional preservation techniques provides insight into sustainable food storage methods that remain relevant today. The stable temperatures maintained by frozen ground create ideal conditions for long-term storage of many types of food products. Winter fashion historically developed from practical responses to cold weather challenges, with many traditional designs still representing optimal solutions to winter clothing needs. Layering systems, wind-resistant outer shells, and insulation principles used in traditional winter clothing often surpass modern synthetic alternatives in effectiveness and durability. Understanding the design principles behind traditional winter clothing helps modern winter enthusiasts make better gear choices and appreciate the ingenuity of cold climate cultures throughout history. Snow science includes the study of snow metamorphism, crystal formation, and the physics of snowpack behavior. Researchers use snow studies to understand everything from avalanche prediction to climate change effects to water resource management. Snow science combines meteorology, physics, chemistry, and engineering principles to understand one of nature's most complex and variable phenomena. The interdisciplinary nature of snow science makes it a fascinating field that connects multiple scientific disciplines through the study of frozen precipitation. Winter solitude provides psychological benefits that are increasingly recognized by mental health professionals. The quiet, simplified environment of winter landscapes naturally reduces sensory overload and provides ideal conditions for contemplation and stress reduction. Many people find that winter's slower pace and reduced social obligations create opportunities for introspection and personal renewal that are difficult to achieve during busier seasons. The therapeutic value of winter solitude has led to increased interest in winter retreats and cold weather wellness programs. Astronomical observation reaches peak conditions during winter's long nights and clear, stable atmosphere. Many of the year's most spectacular celestial events occur during winter months when viewing conditions are optimal and darkness lasts longest. Winter constellations include some of the brightest and most easily recognizable star patterns, making winter an ideal season for beginning stargazers. The combination of clear skies, steady atmosphere, and extended darkness creates perfect conditions for both casual skywatching and serious astronomical photography. Winter survival skills represent a fascinating intersection of traditional knowledge, modern science, and practical problem solving. Understanding how to work with winter conditions rather than against them reveals the elegant solutions that cold climate cultures developed over thousands of years. These skills include shelter construction, fire management, food procurement, and navigation techniques that remain relevant for outdoor enthusiasts and emergency preparedness. Learning winter survival skills provides both practical knowledge and deeper appreciation for the challenges and opportunities that winter presents. Winter reading becomes more immersive as shorter days naturally encourage longer periods spent with books and contemplative activities. The extended darkness creates perfect conditions for settling into comfortable reading spaces, while the cold weather outside makes indoor activities feel more appealing and necessary. Many people report reading more books during winter months than during any other season, as the natural rhythm of long nights aligns with sustained focus and concentration. The cozy atmosphere created by warm lighting against cold darkness enhances the reading experience, making fictional worlds feel more vivid and non-fiction more engaging. Libraries and bookstores often report increased circulation and sales during winter months, as reading becomes both entertainment and a refuge from harsh weather conditions. Winter cooking naturally shifts towards slower preparation methods that fill homes with comforting aromas. Braising, roasting, and slow cooking techniques that would make summer kitchens unbearably hot become pleasant sources of warmth during cold months. The long cooking times required for winter dishes align perfectly with shorter days and longer periods spent indoors. Bread baking becomes particularly appealing during winter, as the oven's warmth contributes to home heating, while creating the satisfying aromas and textures that define comfort food. Many traditional winter recipes developed specifically to take advantage of these longer cooking times and the warming effects of kitchen activities. Snow removal creates unexpected exercise opportunities that provide both physical activity and practical purpose. Shoveling snow engages multiple muscle groups in ways that differ significantly from gym workouts, providing functional fitness that serves immediate practical needs. The intermittent nature of snow removal activities creates natural interval training, with periods of intense activity followed by rest breaks. Many people find snow removal meditative despite its physical demands, as the repetitive motions and clear objective create a focused, present moment awareness. The immediate visible results of snow clearing work provide psychological satisfaction that enhances the physical benefits of the exercise. Frozen waterfalls create natural amphitheaters with unique acoustic properties that change throughout the winter season. The ice formations act as sound reflectors and absorbers simultaneously, creating audio environments that seem to capture and hold certain frequencies, while allowing others to resonate freely. These acoustic effects change as ice formations grow and shift with temperature variations, creating different sound experiences throughout winter months. The combination of moving water sounds from unfrozen sections and the silence of ice-covered areas creates layered soundscapes that many visitors find deeply peaceful and restorative. Winter photography challenges photographers to work with limited light conditions while capturing the subtle beauty of monochromatic landscapes. The technical demands of cold weather photography require different approaches to exposure, focusing, and equipment protection, often resulting in images that would be impossible to create during other seasons. Snow and ice create natural reflectors that can dramatically alter lighting conditions, while cold temperatures affect camera batteries and mechanical functions in ways that require adaptation and planning. Many photographers consider winter their most challenging, but also most rewarding season for developing technical skills and artistic vision. Ice fishing represents one of winter's most meditative outdoor activities, combining patience, skill, and connection with natural cycles. The quiet concentration required for successful ice fishing naturally induces contemplative states, while the simplified environment eliminates many distractions present during other forms of fishing. The social aspects of ice fishing often involve sharing shelters and knowledge, creating communities of practice that persist throughout winter months. Understanding ice conditions, fish behavior in cold water, and the specialized equipment needed for ice fishing requires knowledge that connects practitioners with generations of cold climate fishing traditions. Winter gardening continues through cold frames, greenhouses, and indoor growing systems that extend the growing season despite freezing outdoor temperatures. Many vegetables actually thrive in cool conditions and can be harvested throughout winter months with minimal protection from extreme weather. Seed starting for spring gardens typically begins during winter's coldest months, as plants require specific timing to be ready for outdoor transplanting after frost danger passes. The planning and preparation aspects of winter gardening provide purposeful indoor activities that connect gardeners with future seasons while maintaining their connection to growing cycles. Sledding and other winter sports provide cardiovascular exercise disguised as playful recreation, making physical activity more appealing during months when outdoor exercise can be challenging. The hills and slopes that create sledding opportunities often remain accessible throughout winter, providing convenient locations for family activities and social gatherings. Traditional sleds, toboggans, and modern snow tubes each offer different experiences and physical demands, accommodating various ages and ability levels. The social aspects of sledding create shared experiences that often become treasured family memories associated with specific winter seasons and locations. Winter fashion serves both practical and aesthetic functions, with many traditional designs representing centuries of refinement in cold weather clothing solutions. Layering systems allow for adaptation to changing conditions throughout the day, while specific fabrics and construction techniques provide protection against wind, moisture, and temperature extremes. Understanding the principles behind effective winter clothing helps individuals make better choices for their specific activities and climate conditions. The aesthetic aspects of winter fashion often emphasize textures, colors, and silhouettes that complement winter landscapes and indoor environments. Firewood preparation and fire management become essential skills that connect modern households with traditional heating methods and forest management practices. Different wood species provide varying heat output, burn characteristics, and aromatic qualities that influence both heating efficiency and ambience. The process of selecting, cutting, splitting, and seasoning firewood requires planning that spans multiple seasons, as wood must be properly dried to burn efficiently and safely. Understanding fire management includes knowledge of draft control, ash removal, and safety practices that ensure both effective heating and fire prevention. Winter night sky observation reaches optimal conditions as long darkness hours coincide with clear, stable atmospheric conditions that minimize star twinkling and atmospheric distortion. Many winter constellations contain the brightest and most easily recognizable star patterns of the year, making winter ideal for beginning astronomers and stargazing enthusiasts. The cold air's reduced moisture content and thermal stability create superior viewing conditions for telescopic observation of distant galaxies, nebulae, and planetary details. Winter astronomy often becomes a social activity as groups gather to share telescopes and knowledge while staying warm around outdoor heaters or in heated observatories. And now, as winter's gentle truths settle around you like fresh snow on quiet branches, let your breathing deepen and your thoughts grow soft. We've wandered through a world where silence wraps the earth in peace, where each snowflake carries its own unique story, and where even the coldest nights hold hidden warmth. Tonight, you've discovered that winter isn't just a season of rest, but a masterpiece of natural design that invites us to slow down, breathe deeply, and find comfort in the gentle rhythms of a sleeping world. Sweet dreams, and may winter's quiet wisdom follow you into peaceful sleep.